Welcome to the Economic Depression and Preparation channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you for joining me on this weekend edition from October 17th, 2022. I just want to briefly talk about the conditions that are leading to this severe economic recession. One of the ingredients and one of the bright spots in the International World Economic Forum, as well as we continue to go deeper and deeper into this recession. So the first order of business I want to talk about is the insider trading going on and all of that going on among our officials. And that's leading to more and more corporate greed. And also we're going to talk about the people who are jobless as a result of the natural disasters such as Hurricane Ian down in Southwest Florida and other places. And we're going to talk about the bright spot, which is India as a bright spot among the developing nations' economies that are standing out. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel, Preach to Me, for the latest interpretation of financial news in the United States and sometimes abroad. And let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. So as you can see, 1 in 5 federal officials, according to MarketWatch.com, trade stock in companies their agencies oversee. So now we have a situation here in D.C. and Washington, D.C. and other places where, of course, the politicians have made it where they trade stocks, insider trading, or own stocks related to decisions their agencies made. A Wall Street Journal investigation has found more than 2,600 officials at agencies from the Commerce Department to the Treasury Department, both during Republican and Democratic administrations, disclosed stock investments in companies that were lobbying by their agencies for favorable policies. This amounts to more than 1 in 5 senior federal employees across 50 federal agencies reviewed by the journal. So now we have a situation where they reviewed all of these documents and they found out that there's trading of stocks, bonds, and funds by the officials. More than 315,000 trades were made after review of the documents by the investigation held by the officials themselves, their spouses, or dependent children. And this is nothing new. We know that there is trading going on. We know that there is tips given to the top 1% or top 5% of people who own these stocks and these companies, or public or private. But the thing is that this is becoming more commonplace. They have more advanced notice than the average day trader or average person trading on Robinhood or one of these other companies, Charles Schwab or, E-Trade or TD Waterhouse, Westinghouse. So this is very concerning because not only do we have corporate greed with the gas tax gouging, price gouging on that, but we have corporate greed with insider trading on stocks, bonds, T-bills, treasury bills. And they get the word before the average consumer, the average American gets the word on the street. They get the word ahead of time on which stocks to dump, which stocks to pump and dump, to sell, short squeeze, whatever you want to call it. And so this is what's going on in our nation. Now, also, we have tens of thousands likely jobless after Hurricane Ian. Most economists say this was on CNN Business report. And Hurricane Ian was a big Category 4 storm in the Fort Myers Beach and the Sanibel Island area, and that except in Florida. With the 18-foot storm surge, or 15-foot storm surge, it created a huge chasm of jobs. Low-income workers face a potential cash crunch. Many of these restaurants were totally wiped out. Many of the causeway bridges over to these islands, Pine Island, Sanibel Island, many of the businesses, the marinas there, the fishermen around a lot of the ports there to get out to the Gulf of Mexico, all of that's been damaged. And so all of these jobs, from the fishermen to the fast food workers to the gas stations there to the hotel workers there that were damaged to the Airbnb people who are renting out Airbnbs for the wintertime, for the snowbirds that come down as we get into the dry season down in South Florida this month. All of that's been affected by this catastrophic event, this billion-dollar disaster. And so many workers are trying to figure out whether to stay or go. They're vulnerable either way. As you know, that the frequency of these storms will continue to rise, and eventually places like New Orleans, Houston, Tampa, Florida, all these vulnerable areas are going to get that once in a century storm, hurricane that has been foretold forever. But right now in Southwest Florida, a lot of the workers in this 21 million population state are low-wage service sector workers and stuff like that, and retirees. So because of that, this lady says there is no replacement housing. If we don't have an alternative safe housing for low-income people, we're going to have to continue to have the same problem over and over. It's unreasonable to expect, quote, barrier items to develop barrier items and not expect them to get destroyed. So Basically, she's telling them that they have to move out of these barrier islands and get closer into the mainland. So when they ship these people, when they ship our residents, our citizens away from Florida, last time in Katrina, they bust them to Houston following Hurricane Katrina. If everybody keeps relocating from these areas, these vulnerable areas, low lines below sea level or near sea level places, to areas and elsewhere in Florida, what does that mean for the economy in bigger cities like a Miami or an Orlando or let's say a Tampa in Florida or those cities, Jacksonville? That means that the economy can't absorb all those people and that the job market is going to be very, very dismal for service sector workers, retail, hospitality that Florida relies on, since Florida has 21 million tourists that come every year in addition to its 20 million population, third biggest state. So that's going to be a big hit to them in the years to come. Now, India, according to economictimes.com, this is world news, India is one of the few standout performers in the world of uncertainties. India is growing. The economy is doing decent. It's not growing too bad, but it's among the highest among the largest economies. 13.5% growth in GDP on quarter one here. And the thing about it is their neighbors, Sri Lanka, just had a currency crisis. People were raiding on the banks, and then we had that situation in Lebanon. Not Lebanon, I'm sorry. And yeah, it was Lebanon. Yeah, Lebanon, Beirut, where people were ruling the ATMs, were going into the ATMs and things of that nature to try to get their money out because of the situation. The currency is devalued and collapsed. So, but India is the bright spot. Like I said, the developing nations, India, Brazil, China. Well, China's not a developing nation, it's a power economy now, but the developing nations are going to be joining and taking over the lead here as the Western economies continue to falter here. So there are some bright spots. And here in America, there is some bright spots in terms of the growth of technology or automation and the jobs provided by that. A lot of our younger millennials, younger Generation Y participants, those 18, 25, approaching 30, they can have the opportunity to participate in some of the programming and the cloud services sector that is providing great jobs and benefits if you're willing to travel out there. But there's not without drawbacks. Obviously, these jobs in the Silicon Valley and things of that nature require a commute. A lot of people are commuting an hour, 2 hours away from that area, even though they purport high salaries with a lot of these tech companies. But that is a bright spot. That technology is making it easier for our younger people to get jobs in programming, engineering, computer software, coding, things of those nature. So that is one bright spot in some of the Western economies that we have. And India, of course, is a bright spot as they continue to try to manage their growth while taking care of the high population surge that they have in many of the big cities over there. So I just want to touch base with you on a few things this weekend. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend, and I'll talk to you very soon coming up on Tuesday here. Thank you very much. God bless.